Krypton, Episode 6, Civil Wars. So this episode I would definitely say was entertaining. It's, them talking about Zod, them talking about the future, Adam kind of being on the outskirts of things as far as a friend and, a confidant and all that stuff, because it's like, oh, you knew my planet was going to blow up, but you never told me that part. So they go through a lot in this episode. They have Brainiac by the end controlling most of the people kind of under Zod's control. So that was interesting. I don't know how that's going to end up playing out, but all in all, it's just a really crazy episode. Like, Brainiac is learning about the people in the best position, possible. And then we have them talking about the future and the timeline and, what is and is not, really meant to happen. So it's definitely entertaining. Like, I love hearing about what they did with Zod and how it is still the normal storyline, because I was curious if they were, going to do it where it was like Zod and Superman were cool or whatever. It's like, nope, still huge enemy. Don't like the guy. We fight a bunch. And so it's still them changing that history, because it has really nothing to do with Superman. It's actually just Zod coming back to be like, hey, I want to save my planet because it's my planet. So that's pretty easy. That's all I want to do. Stop Brainiac, save the city. It turns out if we save Kandor, they save all of Krypton, because Brainiac, ripping Kandor out of the planet destroys it over the course of time leading up to, 200 years. And people being dumb and doing what they always do. Like, everyone I mentioned this in the beginning of the series, but everyone who's in charge never believes, anyone who's like, hey, things are about to get really bad. It's like, you're dumb. And then everybody ends up dying. So that's just how it works. But it came to change time. And we find out that maybe what Adam was meant to do was not stop Brainiac, but actually stop Zod from stopping Brainiac, so that the course of history could be normal. And so that the planet could be destroyed. Superman is born, because obviously, Kal-El is sent to Earth and he's Clark Kent slash Superman, and he saves the planet and multiple planets and the entire universe, a million times over. So it was a very interesting concept, them having to deal with that idea of, do we stop Brainiac now and save everything, or do we, let it continue and let this, person that technically I'm not really attached to, is like, it's my grandson, but I don't really, know the guy. It's a whole other planet that I didn't even know really existed, and other people and stuff. So it's, having friends and family, and Seg talks about, like, what's the point of it all and raising children if we know it's just going to come crashing down, 200 years from now. So definitely interesting. And of course, talking about the whole relationship thing, Zod is like, oh, you're my mom. And it's like, your son is my, my best friend. So it's like, he doesn't recognize us as his parents. So they talk about the whole future thing, which I feel like they always do that in time travel stuff with relationship characters. It's like, they reference me as this, but not you as this. It's either they're together or they're not. And then it's like, they always say like, oh, we'll talk about it later. We need to worry about the present and not worry about our future falling apart. But, that comes up a little bit. But I love that side of the story. And then, of course, the end of the episode was just ridiculously insane with not only the Brainiac stuff, but obviously Doomsday shows up. And I was like, well, that's insane. I just wasn't expecting that. Doomsday being on Earth, or Doomsday being on Krypton. I don't remember the exact origins of Doomsday. Like, I legitimately just cannot remember, but I thought that was interesting. So they're going to kind of have to explain how Doomsday is there currently and how that's supposed to translate, because I just really cannot remember where the heck, like, all I can think of now is stupid freaking Batman v Superman. Is like the only origin I can think of, which is so dumb. I hate that movie. But I feel like that is somewhat a part of it, because Lex Luthor's always doing something crazy. He's either making Doomsday or he's making Superboy, so it's like it's two things. But I just cannot remember the origin of Doomsday. Like, I don't remember if he's actually from Krypton or if it was just from space and then boom and he fights Superman. But definitely cool. It's like, all right, so they got Brainiac in here. They just got Doomsday locked up in like this crazy little place that was apparently created by both the Zods and the Elves, because their symbols were combined and they had to use both their bloods in order to unlock it. So that was really crazy. And then we find out that's why those people were talking to Seg, like, the Elves have the power to destroy everything. That was why, because they had Doomsday. So that was nuts. It was just really weird, and I was just like, I did not see that coming. I loved it. It was like great weird, but it was just like, I did not expect them to kind of throw in Doomsday. And it was I will say this: it was a cool. It looked like Doomsday. Speaking of Batman v Superman, it looked like actual Doomsday. Like even just folded up like that, I was like, that looks so cool. Like as soon as I saw it, I was like, oh man, that's Doomsday. Like comic book Doomsday. It didn't look anything like the crappy movie version that they had, where he was like, he looked more like it was kind of more like a Cyclops a little bit. It was just like just a bunch of skin, and then eventually he got the spikes a little bit. But that version that they had just like in a little pod, tiny just arms crossed like he was dead. I was like, that looked super cool. That was like pretty much spot on, comic accurate. Just the spikes and everything. Instantly, I was like, man, that's Doomsday. That's nuts. So didn't think of that when I was watching it, but now it's like, man, even for those couple of seconds, it looked better than it did in an entire movie. But love that storyline. I think that had to be my favorite because it was like they already had the cool Zod stuff going on with him time traveling and saving Kandor, which would save all of Krypton, but of course, like completely wipe out the timeline and destroy everything. Technically, he would still exist, and I guess technically so would Superman, but obviously things would be very different. So it was just interesting. Like I love that storyline, and then of course we have Brainiac in control of the voice of Rao, and him like talking with the girl and learning from her a little bit in the beginning, and then wanting to explore more and learn more and just have more people around and be like, okay, this is how these different classes and the rank lists and everything react and interact. So that was definitely cool. And then of course we have on the other side of that storyline the plan to kill the voice of Rao, who they don't know is now Brainiac. And it was just nuts. And going through the whole episode, they end up killing the one guy who's asking too many questions. The one dude who's supposed to marry Lyta, he doesn't want to kill a bunch of innocent people, so he has everybody scattered. And then it's like, all right, voice of Ra's coming back, we'll just hold him up, blast him, everything's great. And then of course he takes off the helmet and his Brainiac, and he like shoots the tendrils out and hits a bunch of people. I think he of course missed like the two characters that we actually know, but hits everybody else, and they're all under mind control. So I don't know where we're headed officially for this next episode, and I don't know how many episodes this season has, but it's getting even crazier. So I'm really enjoying this first season, but definitely want to know what you guys thought about this episode. So please comment below, let me know your favorite parts about it, least favorite parts about it. Of course, with Brainiac now taking control of, I don't know how many people were in that room, but most, if not all of them, because we don't really know what happened with the main characters. But taking over those people, I would assume it's still going to be fairly calm, unless, excuse me, the other two characters do end up escaping because they'll fight back and everything. But I would love to know your predictions on how that's going to end up playing out. Of course, want to know what you guys thought about this episode in general, so please put your comments down in the comment section below. And of course, thanks for watching.